news, people. Secondary school teachers are now on tier 1 of the green list role, which means that if you are a secondary school teacher, you are now eligible to apply for the straight to residence visa to New Zealand, meaning that you can get your residency from overseas and come to New Zealand as a resident. That is awesome. That's really good. Now let's explore everything you need to know to make this possible. Keep watching to find out everything you need to know to make that move. Kiara Fano, Kiara everyone, it's your girl the Assassin Engineer. In this video, I'll be talking about the good news which you must have seen on my community page on the YouTube channel. That is that the government has moved secondary school teachers from tier 2 to tier 1 roles on the green list, which means that secondary school teachers are now eligible to apply for straight to residence visa. So in this video, I'll be talking about everything you need to do and know as a secondary school teacher to qualify for that straight to residence visa, because if you have that visa, you can come to New Zealand as a resident, and not just that, you'll be able to teach in New Zealand. So what are the eligibility criteria? What documents do you need to submit? What process do you need to go through? This is what we're going to be looking at all in this video. Now, if you're seeing my face for the first time, you are welcome to the community. Make sure that you click the like button to like this video and the rest of my videos. Check out the playlist on coming to New Zealand. There are other relevant and helpful videos there that you can watch before you ask questions, just in case this has already been addressed. Don't forget to subscribe to join the community. And lastly, before I go on, please ensure that you check the description box of my videos before you start asking questions, because some of your questions are already been addressed there. Now let's dive right into the topic of this video. Teaching is one of the most important and underrated professions in many countries. The quality of teachers greatly influences the country's ability to grow, whether you like it or not. Now, New Zealand has identified that need and taken steps to filling the gap by placing teaching professions on the green list. This is a list of professions that provide pathway to working and living permanently in New Zealand. Previously, teachers at all levels were on tier 2 of the green list, which meant that they could be eligible for residency under the green list work to residence category, but only after 2 years of being employed full-time in a teaching occupation in New Zealand. Now, secondary school teachers are on tier 1 of this green list, which means that they can apply for straight to residence visa, meaning wherever you are as a secondary school teacher in the world, you qualify to apply for New Zealand residency, but on 2 conditions. One, the first condition is that you hold a full-time secondary school teaching job offer. Number 2, you are paid above the median wage, or at least the median wage. Once you meet these 2 conditions, then you can move on to applying for the straight to residence visa. Everything you need to know about the straight to residence visa is on my channel, so check out the description box to learn about it. Primary and early childhood teachers will still remain on tier 2, but I'm sure that if this initiative is successful, they will move them to tier 1 as well. That's my thinking. So let's just fingers crossed. That's awesome, right? That's not a lot of requirements, right? Hold that thought. Here comes the question. How do I get a job offer? No. That is not the first question you should be asking. The first question you should be asking is, what requirement must I meet to be eligible to teach in New Zealand? Before I even talk about job offers, just like you can't practice medicine in any other country without getting the required license and registration, you cannot teach in New Zealand without the necessary registration and certificate. I'll be exploring all of this in this video, so keep watching. So, to be eligible to apply for this straight to residence visa as a secondary school teacher, you will need to be registered with the Teaching Council of New Zealand, or Teaching Council of Aotearoa, which is what New Zealand is called in Māori. You need to have a provisional practicing certificate issued by the Teaching Council of New Zealand. You need to have at least a provisional practicing certificate. Provisional practicing certificate is for all new and beginning teachers from New Zealand and for all overseas trained teachers seeking to register to teach in New Zealand. So you will need a provisional practicing certificate. You have to be paid at least median wage or above. You also have to meet the straight to residence visa eligibility criteria on top of that. What I'll recommend is that you should visit the Teaching Council of New Zealand to learn how to apply for teachers registration and practicing certificate. However, in this video, I will highlight briefly what you need to do and put the links to the relevant pages on the Teaching Council of New Zealand website in the description box. So don't forget to check the description box for details. I'd love to pause here and ask that if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, click the subscribe button, join the community, and please like my videos as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Share it to those you know and think will need it to help them in their journey to studying abroad, working abroad, or just enjoying the views, the beautiful scenery of this country, New Zealand. A summary and on a high level, note that you don't need a job offer as a teacher to become registered to teach in New Zealand. But registration alone doesn't permit you to teach lawfully in New Zealand. You will need a current practicing certificate. Number 3 is that if you don't intend to start teaching immediately, that's fine. You can choose to delay your application for provisional practicing certificate until you are ready to teach. And lastly, registration process is the most intensive element of this whole thing. That's why you need to start early if you want to take advantage of this, because as you well know, government changes and each government comes with their own immigration rules. So you don't want to delay it till this government change. You don't know if you're going to go for second term, and you don't know if the next government that's going to take over would love to continue this thing. As you know very well from the video that I posted on the latest changes in immigration settings, you know what has happened in that case. If you don't know, check out that video to stay updated with what is happening in immigration setting. This is why I said start early. Now you know that you cannot practice without registering and having a certificate. What registration will do for you as a teacher who is trained overseas is that it will demonstrate that you hold an equivalent or comparable teacher education qualification. But not just that, it also demonstrates that you are committed to the expectation of the code. And that you have a satisfactory overseas police vet, because you will need to be vetted by the police where applicable. That you are also physically and mentally able to carry out a teaching role safely and satisfactorily. You are also competent in English, and you are committed to develop and practice the Terio Maori, that's Maori language, and Maori protocols. So in all, the most time consuming for overseas trained teacher is showing that you have an equivalent New Zealand qualification to demonstrate that you are satisfactorily trained. How do you show that you are satisfactorily trained? There are different ways to do this. One is to have your qualification listed on the pre-approved overseas teaching qualification list. If your qualification is listed on the pre-approved overseas teaching qualification list, then you don't need to do anything extra to show that you are satisfactorily trained. But make sure that you check the notes under each qualification carefully to be completely sure, 100% sure that your qualification is on that list. If your qualification is not on that list, then you will need to apply for an IQA, International Qualification Assessment. You do that with the NZQA. This will normally cost around $746. Secondary school teachers are eligible for a zero-fee IQA, but there are 2 criteria that will apply, and I'm going to discuss that in details in a different video. But note that secondary school teachers are eligible for a zero-fee IQA. That IQA, teaching IQA application, can take up to 4 months, so you better start applying early. Use your HQ. Now, there is a situation where your qualification is assessed as not being equivalent to a New Zealand qualification. You can still apply for your registration under what is called discretionary pathway as an exemption to the policy. It will require many things, including appraisals, CV, support letter. Again, Teaching Council website has all that details that you need. Make sure you check the description box for the link. The next thing is your practicing certificate. There are different types of practicing certificates, but as an overseas teacher, you will need to first apply for a provisional practicing certificate or Tumua practicing certificate. The Maori name is Te Fikite Whakaoronga Tumua. So that's what people just call Tumua practicing certificate. You need to do this before progressing to the Toturu full practicing certificate. So this is a full practicing certificate. But as an overseas trained teacher, the first one you need to do is a provisional practicing certificate. With this Tumua practicing certificate, you can register to teach in New Zealand. The teacher registration and provisional practicing certificate will cost you $564.37. But registration only is $128.96. Remember, I said that you can register first before doing the provisional practicing certificate. That if you are not intending to teach anytime soon, you can start by doing the registration, because that's the most vigorous part of this. In summary, the requirements to move to teach in New Zealand are: 1, you need to show that you are satisfactorily trained to teach. Number 2, evidence of English language competency. 3, overseas police certificate will be required. Number 4, proof of identity form. There are actually 2. You need to fill the one for overseas trained teachers. Number 5, you will need to provide further supporting documents such as CV, and others. Lastly, you will need to apply for teaching registration and your practicing certificate. You will do this on the Hapuri Matutu website. This is the website that you apply for all of this. That's the first thing that you need to do. Once all that is settled, you are registered with the teaching council to teach in New Zealand, have your provisional practicing certificate, then you can start applying for jobs. But while you are waiting to get your assessments and your registration complete, you can just start scoping the area to have idea of, what it entails. What you will quickly realize is that teachers are typically paid based on qualifications and years of experience. Okay, so there is a salary scale. You will need a salary assessment as an overseas trained teacher who wants to move to New Zealand to teach. This is called 8-pay salary assessment. You will need to do that. You can apply for your salary assessment while you are waiting for teacher registration and practicing certificate to be processed. However, if you require an IQA, you will need to have been assessed by the New Zealand Qualification Authority, that is NZQA, before you can do your salary assessment. Remember, you need to earn at least median wage or above. So salary assessment is very key. Now you're probably thinking, where can I find teaching jobs? That's a very good question. You're on the right track. You can find teaching jobs on Education Gazette website. So go on there and search for jobs. The link will be in the description box. Before I end, one good news is that Ministry of Education is providing an overseas relocation grant for up to 10,000 New Zealand dollars. I know for you to move to New Zealand to take up a teaching role, it doesn't happen to engineers. They don't give it to people like us. But your role must start before 30th June 2024. So hurry. Primary and early childhood teachers are also included in this. I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Toodles.